Hi everyone, we're back with Psalm 19 and today we're doing part 2, which we're going to do verses 2 and 3. And if you didn't see part 1, I will link that down below. We did verse 1 in part 1 and this is how that one turned out. So I went back over it with marker. It turned out pretty good. We're drawing pictures to represent a word or words for our Bible verse. So if we look at Psalm 19, we just did the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. And that's what we have here. The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. The next verse is day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to start with day after day. Now, I did some little guidelines just so this is easier for everybody to see. So for day after day, what I thought we could do is just kind of represent day with a little sun. And he can be really simple. And I'm going to give him a little face. Maybe this is a calendar page. I don't know. Day after day. And we do it again. Remember, these are memory cues or little memory triggers to help remember the words so you can hide God's word in your heart. And kids love this. They could go back and color their suns in. They could make it fancy. So we have day after day. They pour forth speech. So we're going to pour out of a little bucket here. And we've got a simple little bucket. And if you want, you could do a little shading to kind of show it's rounded. Make it as simple or as complex as you want. And to pour forth, you can kind of do an S like that. And your water is kind of pouring out. And then I like to make like a little puddle over here maybe. So we're pouring, and look at this, forth. Really easy. Day after day, they pour forth, and you're talking about these, so they're remembering what these words represent. They pour forth speech. Anybody who's seen comics knows about a speech bubble. So start with your bubble, and then you can kind of draw your little mouth, and we're just going to do a really simple little mouth. Let's give it a smile. And this is your represent speech. If your child hasn't experienced, oh, what is that? Pull up some comics. Show them the speech bubble. You could draw teeth, or you could just say, you know what? We're just going to kind of, let's just cross hatch that in and give it a little bit of shading. So this is speech. Let's go over it again. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night. And we're going to be consistent here, but guess what? What do you think night's going to be? A moon with 3 little stars. Super simple. Night after night. Obviously, this is no great, amazing drawing, but it gets the job done. Maybe let's put a little face on our moon just for fun. I think kids would like that. Night after night, they display knowledge. Now, if you've ever done a science project, you know about a display board. So we're going to draw a display board. Younger kids, maybe they haven't seen a trifold display board or had an opportunity to work with that. So you can show them what that is. You could look them up, go to any kind of office store, and you can say, oh, look, next time you go somewhere, show them a display board. They prop up on a table. This is a display board. We're displaying, what are we displaying? Knowledge. So for knowledge, we're going to talk about that being kind of in your head. And this looks like a question mark. But what we're going to do is kind of a simple, very geometric head. So that's kind of the nose and the jaw. because we don't care about the details. This is this profile of a head, but where is knowledge? It's up here in the head. You could do a light bulb. I decided to keep it simple and just do an exclamation point. We're displaying knowledge. And again, keep talking about that. Let's maybe we'll make that a little bit more prominent like that. So we have day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they display knowledge. And look at that. We're already done. This is verse 2. So we've done verse 2. Verse 3, we're going to do down here. And verse 3 says, there is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. So there's no speech or language. Well, we just did this for speech, so let's do speech that way again. We're going to do our speech bubble and then kind of come under it for our mouth. And we'll just shade that in again real quick with a little bit of crosshatch. You could use markers for this and it'd be real fun to kind of add some color. So there is no speech or language. Let's do or an L for language because that relates to speech and that keeps this compact. But it says there's no speech or language. So we do the international symbol for no. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. So for voice, we're going to do a nice, make sure this is going to be a head and give yourself a nice kind of a wide neck. Okay, that's real simple. And you kind of come out just to represent the shoulders a little bit. And again, a very simple face is all we need. If you want to make it fancy, let's just give him some little ears. That'll make him look better. Now your voice comes from your vocal cords, your voice box, and we're going to put that down here in our throat because that's a little different than speech or language. So this is just going to represent voice. So you want to kind of make sure what you're drawing resonates with the kids and they can remember what that means. It says there is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Where their voice, well, what do we hear with? We hear with an ear. So let's start with a little ear. And that's a simple outer ear. And then you can just kind of add the little curve there and maybe just a suggestion of that. That's kind of by your head, right? And maybe that little bump. That's about all you need. I think we can probably remember that's an ear. But it says where their voice is not heard. Where it's not heard. There is no speech or language. No speech or language where their voice is not heard. And that's verse 3. So we've just done verse 2 and 3. There we are. So let's go over the whole thing. Day after day, they pour forth speech. And remember, we're talking about the heavens and the skies proclaiming the work of God's hands from verse 1. Night after night, they display knowledge. And remember, we crossed this out. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. So this is part 2. This is verses 2 and 3 of Psalm 19. Go check out the blog post at thelampformyfeet.com, and we'll see you guys next time.